My name is Ellen. This year I signed up for the magazine club at my school, and I had the privilege to work as a main writer and editor. The club is all about expressing oneself through interests and showcasing who you are to the community through the extension of the magazine. There are so many creative people taking part in this club, and I'm happy to be able to include this interview as my part in it, as I decided to take a grand step and attempt to interview a voice actor. Fortunately, I succeeded and was given the amazing opportunity to interview voice actor Branden Loera. Obviously, not going to make this too long-winded of an intro, but I wanted to say that I am incredibly thankful for this opportunity, and I hope viewers feel compelled to engage in some of the fantastic media Branden Loera is involved in. Enjoy.
Great to meet you. I'm Alan. Um, I have just a few questions. I've got like seven of them just about your personal experience with voice acting and then just kind of where it's brought you and your experience with it, I guess.
Okay.
My first one, how and when did you get into voice acting? I guess you could also introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Branden Loera. I am currently living in Fort Worth. Um, as far as when I started voice acting when uh, I started like 5, 6 years ago, but it, I didn't take it as seriously as I do now. And,
Okay.
here, I just take these off because the reflection's killing me. Um, and it was very sporadic as well. So,
Mm,
I would go in a few times during old Funimation days, and it was just like
mm,
it felt like a dentist's office, honestly. It was what
uh,
the side was. Very isolated, so you
mm,
couldn't really see anybody, maybe like one person on your way out. But I moved to Virginia for a little bit, and then when I came back to Texas, because I'm originally from here,
okay.
I was like, hey, I'm gonna go real hard into my acting stuff again. And I talked to all my friends and my director friends and stuff. And I was like, hey, I'm back in town. Like, if we can do something, let's do it. And they're like, great, love that you're back. Let's get you into the studio. And, basically had to relearn everything.
Mm. Was
So,
it like a childhood hobby or did you kind of just get thrown into it at some point?
well, I'm originally classically trained actor.
Oh, cool.
I came with like into musical theater and vocal performance, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do musicals and operas the rest of my life.
Yep.
And when I got out of college, I ended up doing more um, Shakespeare and voiceover, and how I ended up getting into voice acting in specifically, I was doing some Shakespeare actually, and a lot of the VAs here in Texas do a lot of Shakespeare.
Huh.
And
I didn't know that.
I, yeah, so I met a couple of them and did a few shows, and they're like, hey, they also, some of them happen to be directors as well, and they're like, we like your work ethic. You can learn fast. Um, we like the general work that you do. Come into the studio, and we'll try you out. And if it works out, then you might have some more work and a contract as well. And I was like, cool, yeah, I love that. Um, and so they started me out. Usually, like when you're learning this and you're just getting into the system, they'll put you in Walla, like groups of four in a booth, and you just do some background stuff. But I, I guess like they wanted it to where I couldn't hide really
Mm.
behind other people and just solo. And so I went in by myself for one piece. With Joel McDonald was directing at the time. He's no longer there, but um, that was like 5 or 6. It was 6 years ago now, and it was the craziest experience. Like you're doing 20 something voices in the span of an hour.
Oh
And
God.
I remember the very first thing I did was um, being one of the many like baboons in this army of monkeys or something over the treetops. I'm like, what am I doing here? I don't know if I'll be able to do this. Um, but it was really fun. I dug it, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way, of course, because it was my very first time in the booth. Um, but uh, they called me back for other stuff. But after I came back from Virginia is when I was there a lot, and it's Crunchyroll at the time now, so
Yeah.
brand new studio and all that jazz. But yeah, I have been acting since I was 12, and probably at the age I was doing, God, I don't know. I feel like I got my dip in the toes like 24 or something, and
Okay.
um, I'm 30s now, so uh, yeah, that answers your question, I think.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I didn't know that they kind of had the booth features, like just kind of going in on your own. So really interesting to learn.
Yeah, if you're doing like bits or something, sometimes that's not just for like
Yeah.
solo tracks aren't just for roles. There can be times where you'll have like a 30-minute session or something for a line of dialogue that's maybe a little bit longer than um,
Mm,
you know normal, but it would still require you going in by yourself because they don't need you to do background stuff. It's like it's more prominent essentially.
got it. Do you think you're planning on sticking with voice acting, or do you think you want to move on to directing, or is there anything that you wanted to experiment with?
So I do some directing now. I did some directing in college uh, as well, with like just like straight plays and things like that.
Mhm.
I really do enjoy directing, and I was sort of co-owning now, just like solely owning a studio called Blue Nova, and we do a whole bunch of stuff like indie games, some
Nice.
commercial work, um, visual novels, and we also do demo stuff as well. So uh, I it just to kind of like I feel like I have the experience not only as a voice actor but as just a regular actor in general of like what I hear and what needs to be done,
Hmm.
uh, and like the practices and how to talk to actors and things like that to get what you want.
Hmm.
I think it's really important, and I really, really, really love doing that, and um, just the process and the research that goes into before you have to go do that thing. I'm very like organized and just like type A. I got everything written down. I have ideas condensed, also written down because if it's not written down, then I will just never remember it.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I want to be a crunchy director at some point. It's just they've gotten rid of the shadowing process that they used to have,
Mm,
so I can't necessarily do that anymore. But I am taking a lot of directing classes, especially for ADR, to just
mm,
really hone in on that specific type, especially not just with like how fast you need to be, fast paced for to get the episodes done in time and things like that.
yeah, just
But
like quality.
yeah, quality and also understanding the like the business side, the technical side as well. Because not a lot of people think about that, and like when you're having to go back and forth between the actor, the engineer, and what the script, the translation,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
and having to deal with booth reviews and how to notate that in the Excel sheet that they have. But yeah, I'm trying to learn it all. Um, but yeah, I've had a few, probably like 5 classes now, and I feel pretty confident. Obviously, I can use a whole lot more, but for sure, that's definitely on the docket.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. Do you have a favorite role that you've had so far, or one that you really like clicked with personally?
Man, I can think of a few. So
Go
the
for it.
first one that was like, I don't know what you've watched, but the first one that sort of broke me out in the industry and was really just me essentially was when I did Heaven Official's Blessing, which I did
That's
not.
where I know you from.
I figured. I was like, man, I didn't know how big that show was at first. They were like,
No.
we want you to come to the Longchin show. We don't know how long you'll be there for, but um, it's a more prominent side role, and yeah, we'd love to have you. And I was like, oh, sweet, cool. I looked it up, and then when I went to record and it came out, and I told my friends, they were like, you're in what show? Do you realize? Do you realize the following behind this? I said, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because I was doing another show at the time and I was like, this is the one I'm more focused on.
hmm
And then whenever I saw like the animation and the story, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is deep and
hmm
this is gonna be huge.
Yeah.
And then that was obviously season two, so I went back and rewatched or watched season one, and it was beautiful, and like some of the antagonists and the villains like really like has a chokehold on you.
Yeah, I feel
Obviously,
that.
the relationships between Sanlong and Shilian as well was really beautiful. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I get to be a part of this. Um,
hmm
so just being like the normal me angsty boy, uh, and then just totally losing my shit at the end
hmm
was so special. Um, and so that there's that guy. If I can have a couple, um, also
Absolutely.
doing Chesslock in Black Butler.
Okay.
I really like. I love his design so much.
Me
Like
too.
the black sides and the white mohawk.
He's
Uh,
just there. It's a presence. It's good.
my God, the presence. He brings such an aura to the show, and
hmm
not a lot of times when you get to do a British accent. So, like,
hmm
I really kind of channeled some Bakura energy from Yu-Gi-Oh, and I
mm
had so much fun playing him. And most of the time, just better than you, Violet Wolfhouse, and just like screw you, Sebastian, screw you, everyone else. This is the best, and like everyone's beneath me. How dare you talk to the prefects like that? Oh my gosh! And then the cricket match with like the violet. What did I say? Uh, oh gosh, it was so cool. With a wine black flame. Uh, nope, I lost it. But
It's okay.
it's so cool, and I don't know. It's just a cool series to be a part of, especially because the fourth season had been so long in the making. They're like,
hmm
nobody thought it was coming back.
No, I remember watching Black Butler like years ago for season one and two and just like having no idea when we were getting that. So I was really happy to see that we did get more of that.
Yeah. My brother was so into it, and it's kind of one of those things. I don't know if you have any siblings, but um,
Lots.
it's the fact that like I don't know if you feel this way, but they're so into something that it actually turns you off of something. Like they're like, "Oh, watch this. This is so cool. It's my favorite thing ever." I'm like, "Uh-huh, yeah, okay. I'll get to it later." All right.
Yeah, it's
Like,
mutual
chill.
between me and my brother. We're also
Yeah.
vastly different though. He's talking about basketball and I'm sitting here being like, Heaven Officials is so good.
Maybe in a couple of years when things like die down, okay?
Yep.
Um, but yeah, no, I watched it, and of course, your siblings are onto something. If they like it, it's
hmm
a pretty good bet that you'll like it too.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an incredible IP that I got to be a part of, so I'm happy about that.
hmm
And also the current series I'm a part of now, tying the knot with an Amagami sister.
Yes.
I know, it's like a harem thing, but it's almost also like slice of life type thing.
Hmm.
Uh, but once you get past the first couple episodes, and then
Hmm.
like it really dives into the backstory
Hmm.
and of the sisters, and like it goes beyond like skin deep stuff. So I've really been enjoying it, and like the episode 15 just came out today of the English dub,
Okay.
and like there's so much comedy to be had in there, which of
Hmm.
course I love to do, but not only that, but there's also some really nice, nuanced, subtle moments in there as well, with like Yai and Asahi and with Yuna as well. And
Hmm.
man, I love the show. I love that it has 24 episodes, and just so honored to be a part of that as well. And that's mostly me too. I mean, that's just me. And like he's this medical student trying to go to Kyoto U. I don't know what
Hmm.
that's like, but he's such like a clean freak, and so am I. And like my friends who are watching it, they're like, "Oh, this is you're not even acting in this show.
It's
This
just
is
you.
just you. Right? This is just you. What are you doing?" So yeah, I'd say those are my three.
Yeah, no, I started that one not super long ago. It was kind of recent, but the one thing I do remember was the bunch of paper cranes, like when he had gone back, and like I loved the depth on that scene. Like
Huge.
as of so far, it was like slice of lifey, just getting it going, and then having that good ground moment. I really did like that. And even Heaven Officials, I've got all 8 books sitting down there on my shelf, and
Love.
it's really funny because Long Chen Shou ended up being my favorite character of season
Oh,
2. So when
oh,
you responded, I was like, "That's my guy."
thank you. Uh, a lot of people have mentioned that to me on socials. They're like, man, in the manhwa or whatever, that I didn't really care for this guy. I don't even know who he
No,
was. And
he's
whenever
kind
he
of
showed up,
really backgroundy.
yeah. And they're
So,
like, oh man, whenever he was in the show, I just couldn't help but gravitate toward him. And
hmm.
I was like, man, thank you guys for the love so much. Like, I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, no, I was really happy to have been able to find like so many, like James isn't super well known, I think, throughout like bigger media. So I was
Yeah.
glad to find a lot of different voice actors that I hadn't seen before. I had seen Howard back in 2021, I think, for Skate. And then since then, just kind of started on those ones and then found Heaven Officials. And I find that I find so many cool voice actors that I just didn't know existed. And they all kind of get brought together with like big creators and small creators. And it's really cool to see. I do really like it.
It's hard to get a hold of Howard, like he's so big. He's everywhere. You can
He is
never
a
really
busy
get hold of him.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the streams occasionally, but
Oh, nice, nice.
yeah, no, I was really happy to get a hold of you. So I was like, that's my guy. So,
Ah, happy to be here.
mhm. Um, is there a role you didn't connect with, like that you've had so far that just kind of didn't fit or feel right? Or did you have an opportunity to voice for someone and it didn't really fit?
Oh, yes, actually. I was like, huh, I don't know if I should say, but and they know this. Everyone knows this. I don't have a particularly deep voice, so
Okay.
um, in campfire cooking, I was Johann, the butcher, and he's a
Oh.
big, bald, strapping dude. And yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, like, it doesn't go much deeper than that, right? So, at least for me,
Mm.
they were just like, we just wanted you because you're a cool dude and we like your acting. I was like, oh, thank you so much. I love that. I will do my best. And I was like, next time, now that you know me, look out for them mid-high guys because that's my type
Yep.
of thing. Um, and they were like, "Cool, cool, duly noted." But it was fun. It was still fun to do, and like there was still connection. Of course, it's just like it may have taken a couple more takes and get like the performance that they needed at the same time. Because I was like, I can bottom out, but then there will be no acting at all.
Mm,
So it was trying to find that balance. But yeah,
hmm.
that's a pretty well known thing. So I'm not worried about people knowing that. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, fair enough. I've been seeing a little bit on it from, I call it Twitter. I know it's X, but
No, that's what it is.
new upcoming Doctor Stone stuff. But
Yeah.
ties into my question, is there any characters that you hope to voice act for?
And Doctor
I
Stone
saw you
specifically.
and Landon.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously that boat has sailed. That's okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't. So here's another thing. I'm not like a bunch of other VAs who read the manga
Mm,
beforehand. So I don't know a whole lot of people that are upcoming in the show.
right.
Um, just based off of the auditions that we got. It was just those two characters. It was Stanley and Zeno or something like that. But yeah, I would have loved to have been Stanley, but yeah, I don't know of any other characters out. And like, if the thing is, there's so much anime out there that if I
Hmm.
were to incorporate manga into my like routine, I would I would just be so overwhelmed by all of the media that I have to consume. So
Yeah.
I'm like, let's hold off on that for as long as possible, and let's just consume the stuff that's like not as expensive, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So
I feel that. I'm not typically a manga reader beforehand. I'll usually like the show and then maybe get manga afterwards. Like for me with Kaiju recently, I really
yes,
liked the show. So I started getting into the manga or even Heaven Officials. I know it's not like a manga,
yeah, yeah,
but I wanted more of the story, but I had to do that after watching it just
yeah.
because I
That's
guess
fair.
it
Just seeing
works
if
better.
you like it
Yeah,
first.
because Bunny,
Yeah, of course, that makes sense.
literature is not cheap.
Was there any characters that you were looking forward to for the new season that I don't know of?
Um, I personally don't have any of the mangas for Dr. Stone, but I had seen, I think it was the post of Stanley, and then I think it was you and Landon McDonald who
Yeah,
ended up talking about it.
yeah.
I seen it, I was like, I honestly would be so happy with either of them. I think it'd be really cool. Because even for you, I've only seen, is it Chiplock or Chesslock?
Chiplock.
Chiplock. Who
It's
am I
Chestnut.
thinking of with,
What?
yeah, I was,
Who's
who am I,
Chiplock? Is that
maybe I'm
Fairly
thinking
Odd Parents?
Chilchuck. Maybe I'm thinking Chilchuck.
Chilchuck.
Maybe it's maybe it's close in my brain. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so him, uh, Ryu, and Long Chen Show were the only three of yours that I had really like delved into. So I thought it would have been super cool to see you in
Oh,
like
are you talking
Doctor
about?
Stone.
Are you talking about Rio from Cheat Skill? Who are you talking?
No, tying the knot. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Oh, sorry. You said Uryu. I thought you said Ryu, and I was
Oh
like,
no,
oh,
Uryu.
Ryu from Cheat Skill. Nobody knows that show. Never
No,
mind.
see, that's another one I gotta go for.
Yeah, that was pretty fun too. Um, But yeah, basic isekai, overpowered MC. But I was the Lee George's best friend,
Mm,
Ryo Igarashi, and he was like a little frat bro type guy who's like very nice and everybody looks up to. Um,
nice,
but yeah, that was cool. Um,
cool.
but yeah, no, yeah, when I saw Stanley's picture, I was like, oh man, that dude. And Landon and I go like I mean, he's huge. He's absolutely massive, and he works
Hmm.
at like every studio known to man, and also works with Mike a lot. Who Mike was directing that
Oh,
for a long time,
yeah. Okay.
but then he has
Hmm.
his recovery. Yeah, Landon usually we usually go for similar roles, even though like he probably doesn't think so. But I know we have similar voice profiles.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, yeah, love the dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been super cool. But I don't think those episodes are out yet, so I don't think I'm allowed to
It's
know
been so
who.
long. I don't even know who. I want to know who they are. My
We'll have to
gosh.
keep an eye out. It'll have
They're
to
gonna be
happen.
huge. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any tips or advice for aspiring voice actors?
Um, so the main thing is there's a lot of voice actors here. I mean, not here, but here in general in the US
Mm-hmm.
that seem to want a fast track into voice acting, especially if they're in Texas or if they move to Texas for voice acting specifically. They're
Right.
like, okay, I'm going to take this voice acting class, whether it's online or in person. In person is always better if you can manage it
Mm,
because that face-to-face interaction will get you more dialogue and just a better like impression, I suppose, as opposed to like this far away thing with Zoom doesn't always have the same effect, unfortunately, even if you act your ass off. Um,
mm-hmm.
and if you live in different locations, like if you're not in LA and you're doing a class, then you're not gonna like take a mommy class and then automatically be like, oh, I'm in Bang Zoom now after I took that one class. Like that's not how that works.
No.
But uh, I would say first of all, do in-person classes if you can. But what I was trying to get at with the fast track thing is they're only taking the voice acting classes and nothing else.
Mm,
If they have no acting background or improv, they
yep.
absolutely like that is one of the things that is neglected and needs to be put back in as a foundation first because
Mm,
you can spend thousands upon thousands of dollars getting in front of these voice directors, but if you don't have the acting chops to back it up, then you just wasted your money, and they will
yep.
remember you as not being up to snuff. So
Yep.
it doesn't matter the technical terms that you don't know, but if you cannot impress them with your acting, then they will either forget you or they'll mark you down, remember you, which is worse, being like, no,
Right.
they will never have what it takes, at least in the year, at least in like the next couple of years or whatever, until it takes them to approve or something. But um, I see so many people just being like, I've taken so many voice acting classes. I
Right.
don't know what's happening. And then people are like, okay, well, what do you do for a living? Like, what's your degree or something? And they're like, oh, I'm a doctor. Have you ever acted before? No. You think it's just going to
Bingo.
be
Yep.
natural? Like maybe 1%, but a lot of people, you have to learn it. Like you
Hmm.
can't just expect to be good and get your way. Like you have to go through the ropes and learn like, you know, Adler,
Hmm.
Meisner, Stanislavski, Chekhov, the different forms of acting, whatever, like figure out trial and error which one works for you. And like Shakespeare helps so much.
Hmm.
Like getting the musicality and the language and how punctuation affects your delivery. Um, it's really massive. So I'd say first of all, get the acting foundation or the improv foundation and or both, and then worry about the classes. Um,
Right.
and money is always going to be an issue. So like don't bite off more than you can chew. And it's okay to not take a class every week or every month. There's plenty of online classes. An acquaintance of mine, Matthew David Rudd, I don't know if he still
Yes.
does it, but we're in Blue Lock together, and he,
Hmm.
uh, Real Voice LA or something, I'm pretty sure it's Real Voice, has online workouts every Wednesday, um, and they were like 30 to $50 for 2 hours.
Uh,
So that's great. That's like
hmm.
if you can find stuff like that, amazing. Like that way you're
Right.
not having to pay $200 for 2 hours and you're only seen for like 10 minutes. On these
Exactly.
online acting workouts, who these guys are like experts, veterans in the field, 10 plus years or whatever, and they're giving you like more than your 10 minutes of fame or whatever, absolutely jump on that because
Hmm.
that's going to help you grow more than getting in front of a director who expects you to know your shit and get it done in 5 minutes or less. Um, and then just looking out for wherever you're wherever you're situated. Obviously, Texas, LA, New York is going to be the hubs, and just finding those in-person auditions, or not in-person auditions. They rarely do those anymore, but in-person classes. I
Mm.
think those are gonna be the biggest things.
I don't
and
know.
and
That
to
makes
and
a
to
lot of
just
sense.
be patient. That's really it, because everybody wants it done fast. This specific subsection of acting is already inundated with way too many people. The percentage of people getting in and getting a job, landing a gig, whether it's non-union or union, is almost insurmountable. It's already like 2%. And then
Mm.
you go into voice acting, which is even more oversaturated, in my opinion, especially after the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy game of getting
Hmm.
in. So,
Yeah. You can't expect to rush or you're just not getting anywhere.
yeah.
I don't know. In person. That does make sense too. Because, and especially for just the classes as a foundation, like it's not speaking in a certain way. That's the point. It's acting.
Yes, also that. Like, don't just do a voice to do a voice. I was like, "Oh, I can impersonate so and so, or I can impersonate this many characters." Like, super cool. No one cares. More often than not, they want your regular voice now. Like, I'm barely changing anything for any of
Hmm.
my characters, and they're like, "Oh, this person's lazy or something." No, that's just what
It's
the directors
acting.
are wanting. That it's close to the Japanese or whatever, and they just want someone who can act. Like, it's not all gonna be One Piece, you know? Like, that's over the top, sure, but more and more anime, especially, like, there's a lot of slice of life. There's a lot of romantic stuff. There's a lot of comedies. There's a lot of even like the like fantasy originals, like Metallic Rouge or Hell's Paradise or something like that.
Mm.
Incredibly grounded. Like, if you just got some run of the mill people to do those shows that are huge, talk about like Landon and Monica Flatley being the leads in Metallic Rouge, and Ryan Negron, and God,
Hmm.
it's acting. Like, they're
Hmm.
not putting on a voice. They're just
No.
doing their thing, and it's beautiful to watch.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. That really makes a character. And I think that's where, I guess, like I've heard so much when I was younger, just the criticism for like dub voice acting back in like years ago. And I'm like, I don't know what you guys are finding, but the ones I'm finding are really good. I prefer the dub, maybe because I'm not a captions enjoyer,
mhm.
but I'll watch the sub and be like, it doesn't hit the same way, but it's because of the emotion that's put into the characters. It's not just hitting a deep voice or making an accent. That's not what it is. So the acting is definitely super important.
I mean, that still happens though today. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, there's still people who would be like, "Oh, dub sucks no matter what," and it's just like,
Don't give it a
can we
shot.
open our minds just a little bit, please?
Yeah,
I really want to get in their heads, and like, you can argue all day. I want to know what they're watching though that makes them think that, or if
I
they're watching
know.
it at all, honestly.
Hmm. Yeah, just be like, oh, dub sucks. Have you ever watched it? Well, no.
Yeah, like,
There you go. You're
what
not,
are
you
you
can't say you
watching?
don't like it if you haven't given it a shot. I don't know.
Are you watching like the Four Kids stuff from the 80s and 90s or something? Like, what are you watching?
It's like it's evolved, I promise.
Yes.
Hmm. I don't know. I think my last question is if you have a favorite line that like just memorable to you that you really liked.
Well, oh yeah. So, um, there's a few that pop in my head, but uh, there was one. I guess, scene where I was in a show called No Longer Allowed in Another World,
Okay.
and sounds just like any other isekai, but it actually went against type and was very unique, I think. And it was like one of the standouts of last season. And Jerry directed that one as well.
Mm.
Um, Beautiful, beautiful animation, and it's about this dude. I don't know what it's about really, but to me, it's about this dude who, like, died, went to another world, and, or I don't know, he just wants to die constantly, and like obviously there's trigger warnings and things like that, but
Yeah.
he just did not want to be there because like he was missing his wife and things like that. And I show up as an otherworlder in episode 5 or 6, being a hero, and um, uh, I show up. I'm like, "Hey, I saved your world. Worship me." And I really loved being like the villain in those 2 episodes. And I was actually the oh god, I wish I knew that word. What's the word? Not the caveat. Caveat. It's the oh jeez. I'm feeling really stupid right now. But
You're good.
what kickstarted that guy's like getting his powers essentially and sending me
Okay.
back to my
Catalyst.
original world. Catalyst. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that was the catalyst for him. We'll edit that. But one of the things that I said to one of the main girls, where I was like, "Oh, such a naughty girl," and then the very end of one of the episodes, it blacks out, and you just hear my voice, and it says, "Be a good girl." And uh, Jerry and Manny, who was the engineer at the time, they both like took their stuff off. They're like, "Whoa, okay." And I was like, "What was that bad? Do we need to do that again?" And they're like, "That was creepy." No, I think you nailed that. I think you nailed it. That's take one and done. I was like, sweet. End of the session. Creeped out the director and the engineer. I couldn't have asked for a better day.
That's
Um,
awesome.
it was so fun. Yeah, I loved it.
That's so cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. I always see so many isekais, and I've always wanted to. Like, they always seem so good, but then there's the titles where everyone's like, if it's a long title, it's not good. I'm like, you know what? Maybe,
That's
maybe let's try
interesting.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I do wonder like why they have to have such a long title for isekais and why it has to say in another world or in a blah blah blah.
Or I got reincarnated as a something, something, something.
Yeah, yeah, reincarnated or in another world. Like, can't you just come up with something catchy? Like, for Sentai, like High Dive has the Behemoth Isekai thing, and the name that they have for it was super long, and I thought it was just gonna be like, you know, uh, Behemoth Rising or something like that, something catchy, and it's you know typical long name in another
Mm.
world, and then Behemoth's in there, and I was like, oh man, you guys, like
Guys, come on. Missed opportunity. It's not
something
boring
that's
when it's short. Just make it
like
creative.
marketable, something good for socials, like honey lemon soda. Choice, like that's good
Yep.
stuff, and everybody's gonna remember that easily. And like
Hmm.
my cheat skill thing that I was talking about, I call it cheat skill. It's actually how I got a cheat skill in another world and became an overpowered MC in another world or
Oh,
something.
okay. I
It's
might have seen that before.
I don't know.
It's like, no, my
But
head.
I'm not calling you that though. Nobody's calling you that, buddy. You should know. Shangri-La Frontier. Easy.
Boom. Yep.
Like, come
Good.
on. Oh well.
Hmm. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all the questions I have. I think we're
That's
doing
it.
really good for time. Yeah. Thank you for again being here for this. I do really appreciate it. I felt like this was such a long shot. I came up with this on, I think, a Monday afternoon because the, I think I'm, what day was that? It was a Monday, I think. And he was like, hey, we have finals coming up. So just throughout this week, just kind of think about what you want to do. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I like got an interview with a voice actor? Because that's just kind of who I am. And that's
Mm,
kind of what Magazine Club is for. It's for kind of promoting who you are to the community while also giving them insight on things that they probably wouldn't otherwise read about.
yeah.
Like, hey, what if I got an interview with a voice actor? It was a joke at first. And then at like 3 p.m. that day, I made the post. And sure enough, it wasn't a long shot.
Man, so this is for like a finals thing.
Kind of. It's so I'm from Canada in
Okay.
Saskatchewan, and Magazine Club has been deemed as like one of Saskatchewan's best clubs. So we basically do it throughout the school. It was originally for fun, but like we get sponsors for it. We have money coming in, we send it off to get printed. We have it from the school, and then it kind of gets spread out throughout family, community, all
Nice.
that type of stuff. Yeah, so I thought it would be interesting to do this. So again, I do really thank you for taking the time to do this with me.
Oh, of course.
And
Yeah. I know like if if you got like, millions and millions of followers, makes sense. You probably don't have the time in the day to read all the stuff that is
mhm.
probably inundating your socials and your notifications and things like that. But
Yep, that's kind of why I figured it was a long shot. I was like, all the people I like are generally like mainstream. So
yeah, no, this was great. And thanks for having me.
yeah, thank you again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was good talking to you. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too, Alan. All right. I'll see you later.
See ya.